Tyler Bennett pushed open the glass door of Moonbeam Café, his shoulders drooping from being so tired. He was completely worn out after working another 12-hour shift at the Seattle spaceport. The cafe was his safe place, the only place where he could get away from the noise of cargo ships and bosses who wanted things done right away. He just wanted a quiet place, a hot cup of coffee, and maybe 20 minutes when no one needed anything from him. The crowd from the night before had already left. There were only a few people left sitting at the wooden tables. Tyler looked around the room he knew well and saw someone he had never seen before. There was a woman sitting alone in the corner booth with the cracked leather seat that no one ever chose. She was looking at a full latte like it held the answers to questions she was too scared to ask. Tyler stopped for a moment because of something about her. She was so beautiful that it seemed like it couldn't be real. Her hair was black with strange silver streaks running through it. It didn't look like gray hair from getting older. It looked more like someone had painted moonlight into the strands. When she looked up for a second, her eyes were violet. It is actually violet. Tyler had seen a lot of aliens at the spaceport wearing colored contacts to fit in, but these looked like they belonged there. But what really got his attention was the way she stood. She sat up straight as if she had never slouched before, but there was a heaviness around her. A sadness that seemed to fill the whole corner of the cafe. She looked like she was carrying a load so heavy that even sitting down wouldn't help. Tyler was just about to look away when it happened. The woman reached for her latte, but her hand shook a little. The cup tipped over, and a dark brown wave of coffee spilled over the table, dripping onto her coat that looked like it cost a lot of money. "Oh no," she said in a low voice, looking at the mess as if she had forgotten how to deal with such a simple mistake. Tyler didn't think. He just got up and left. He grabbed a bunch of napkins from the counter and ran over. "Let me help you with that." Tyler felt his breath catch when the woman looked up at him. Those purple eyes looked even better up close. There was something old about them that made him feel like he was looking at someone who had seen things he couldn't even imagine. She said in a soft voice, "You don't have to." It was like music from an instrument that hadn't been invented yet when she spoke. "It's just coffee," Tyler said as he cleaned up the mess. "At least twice a week it happens to me. My clumsiness is basically keeping this place open." A little smile came to her lips. "Thanks. I don't usually get this kind of kindness from people I don't know." Tyler laughed. "Where do you live where people don't help you clean up spilled coffee? That's just being a good person." "Somewhere very far from here," she said, and the way she said it made Tyler think she meant more than just another city or country. He held out his hand and said, "I'm Tyler." She thought about it for a second before taking it. Her skin was warm, but when she touched me, it felt like static electricity but softer. "Vera." "Hi Vera. Nice to meet you. Are you in Seattle for a while or just passing through?" "I guess I'm hiding," she said, and then she looked surprised at how honest she was. That's an odd thing to say to someone you don't know. Tyler sat down across from her without thinking. He wanted to stay because of something about her. Sometimes it's easier to be honest with people you don't know. We don't expect anything from each other. With those amazing eyes, Vera looked at him closely. "You're very smart for someone your age." "I'm 32. Not that young." "Young," she said again, and the way she said it made Tyler feel like she was comparing his age to something much bigger. They had a conversation. Tyler couldn't put it into words, but their conversation flowed like they had known each other for years. Vera asked him about his life in a way that showed she was really interested and not just being polite. She wanted to know what made him happy, what his dreams were, and why he worked at a job that was clearly too much for him. "I guess I'm stuck," Tyler said. "I see these ships leave for faraway planets every day. All these people are going on adventures and exploring the galaxy. And I'm just here, checking cargo containers and filling out forms. Sometimes it feels like I'm just watching life go by instead of living it." "I know how you feel more than you know," Vera said in a low voice. "Being stuck while the universe moves around you. But you're on the road, right? You're out here living life." "Am I?" Vera stared at her cold coffee. "Or am I just moving from one cage to another?" Tyler leaned in. "That's a lot for a Tuesday night. Do you want to talk about it?" And she did. Vera talked about feeling alone, about having responsibilities that never ended, and about being around people who wanted things from her but never actually saw her. She didn't go into detail, but Tyler could hear the loneliness in every word. Tyler joked, "You sound like you might be a royal or something. People talk about responsibility and how they don't see the real you." Vera's smile was sad. "Something like that." They spoke for 2 hours. The barista started to clean up around them and kept looking at the clock. Tyler couldn't remember the last time he had such a deep and quick connection with someone. Vera looked more relaxed as they talked. Her stiff posture relaxed, and the sadness in her eyes turned into real laughter. Vera finally said, "I should go," but she didn't get up. "Are you coming back tomorrow?" Tyler asked, and he was surprised at how much he wanted to see her again. Vera stared at him for a long time. "Yes. I believe I will." They gave each other their numbers and Tyler watched her go. She moved with such grace that it seemed impossible, as if she were floating just above the ground. He could have sworn he saw shadows moving around her outside the window, keeping an eye on her and protecting her. But when he blinked, they were gone. Tyler felt lighter than he had in months when he walked home that night. He had a friend. A strange, mysterious friend who was probably not human but still a friend. Tyler had no idea, and there was no way he could have known, that Vera was really Verathraxia. The Empress of Dragons. Leader of 10,000 star systems. Leader of fleets that could block out the sun. A being so strong that people in whole civilizations whispered her name. And she had just spent 2 hours being truly happy for the first time in 3,000 years, all because a tired person had helped her pick up coffee that had spilled. Tyler's life changed in ways he never thought possible over the next 3 weeks. What started out as a chance meeting turned into the best part of his days. Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, Vera came to Moonbeam Café like clockwork. Tyler's boss thought it was strange that Tyler wanted those specific days off work because he never took time off for anything. With each meeting, their talks got deeper. Vera was interested in the most boring parts of life, things that Tyler had never even thought about. She wanted to know everything about music, memories from her childhood, and the little things that brought people together. "Tell me about birthday parties," Vera said one afternoon, leaning forward with the excitement of a child. Tyler laughed. "Parties for birthdays? That's what you want to know. Please. I think it's interesting how people celebrate." Tyler told her about turning 7 and how his mom made a chocolate cake that fell apart in the middle but still tasted great. About how they played pin the tail on the donkey in their small backyard while his dad grilled hot dogs. About how Billy, his best friend, gave him a toy spaceship that he still has in a box. Vera listened as if he were telling her about something magical. "And everyone came just to celebrate that you lived another year?" "Yes, of course. That's sort of the point," she whispered. "What a lovely tradition. To bring people together just to recognize someone's existence in the world." Tyler saw that she never talked about her own childhood. She would change the subject or avoid answering whenever he asked. She was great at getting people to talk about him again and again, and she got him to tell stories he hadn't thought about in years. But Vera did talk about how lonely she was. She said that she was around people who needed things from her and saw her as a symbol rather than a person. She said that every moment of every day felt like she was playing a role and that she could never just be herself without having to meet expectations. Tyler said, "That sounds tiring. Don't you have any real friends?" Vera was quiet for a long time. "I thought I did once. But then I realized that they were friends with my job, not with me. Having power makes it hard to tell who really cares about you." Tyler smiled and said, "Well, I don't care about power at all. I can barely handle my own life. You're safe with me then." Something in Vera's face softened. "Yes, I believe I am." But Tyler started to notice strange things. Electronics acted strangely when Vera was around. When she got upset, his phone would act up. Sometimes the lights in the cafe flickered when she laughed. He could have sworn that her coffee cup was floating just above the table before she quickly grabbed it. And then there were the people. Tyler noticed that other customers were avoiding their corner without even knowing it. A couple would come in, see Vera, and then decide to sit on the other side of the cafe. A businessman would look at them, turn a little pale, and then leave without ordering. Tyler said, "People seem nervous around you." Vera looked worried. "Do they?" "I try to keep it from happening, but sometimes my presence affects other people without me meaning to." "Suppress what exactly?" Instead of answering, she asked him about his favorite movies. Tyler also saw that Vera never ate. She would order coffee and sometimes a muffin, but the food never got eaten. She always forgot about her coffee as soon as it was put in front of her. Tyler said, "You know, I've never actually seen you eat anything," during their 3rd week of being friends. Vera smiled in a strange way. "I like the ritual more than what it means." "That's a strange way to say you're not hungry." "Maybe I'm strange," she said. Tyler decided to push on a rainy Thursday. "Vera, you don't seem like a person." She stopped moving and stared at him with her violet eyes. Tyler thought for a moment that he had made a huge mistake. Then her shoulders dropped. "Would that scare you? Are you serious? That would be great. What are you really?" Vera looked shocked by how excited he was. "Are you not scared?" "Afraid of what?" "You have always been nice to me. You listen to my dull stories. You laugh at the bad jokes I tell. You're the best friend I've made in a long time. Why would it matter to me if you're not human? Vera's face showed an emotion so strong that it made Tyler's chest hurt. It's been a long time since anyone called me a friend. That's what you are then. So really, what are you? Are you an alien? Android? Some kind of smart AI? Vera looked around the cafe to make sure no one was watching. My people are old. We were here before your son came to life. People have called us many things over the years. Gods, demons, and dragons. All of these are bad descriptions. Are you a dragon? Tyler's eyes got big. Is there really a dragon? Yes, in the most basic sense. That's amazing. Are you able to fly? Do you breathe fire? How big do you grow? What do you eat if you don't eat people food? Vera laughed, and it was a real laugh. It sounded like bells and far-off thunder. Your interest is refreshing. Most beings are afraid of or worship my true self. You ask questions in response. Because it's interesting. You're interesting. That day they talked for hours. Vera slowly let pieces of herself show, like someone who wasn't used to being open. She told him she was more than 50,000 years old, that she had seen civilizations rise and fall, and that she had seen people take their first steps into space from a distance. I am in charge, she said carefully. I have duties in many worlds. Like a diplomat? Yes, similar. Tyler didn't ask for details. It was Vera's right to keep some things to herself. Everyone needed limits, even old dragon ladies who drank cold coffee and asked about birthday parties. Tyler didn't know that Vera's security fleet stayed in place above Earth's atmosphere. Dozens of warships were hidden from view, and their crews were getting more and more nervous. The Dragon Empress had been on the planet for 26 days now. The Galactic Council was sending out emergency messages every few hours. Her main advisor, Lord Catherine, kept an eye on the cafe from space. What is she doing down there? He said to himself. She's putting everything on the line to talk to a primitive person. But the security footage told a story that Catherine couldn't deny. The Empress smiled for the first time in 3,000 years. Smiling for real. Not the fake diplomatic smile she wore at state events, but real happiness. Tyler was talking about his dreams of going to space again in the cafe. I know it's dumb. I'm 32 years old, have no special training, and work a dead-end job. But sometimes I look up at the stars and feel like I should be out there, you know? It's not dumb, Vera said firmly. Dreams are what keep us alive no matter how many years we have. What do you do about it? Living for so long? Doesn't everything start to feel like it doesn't matter? Vera was quiet and looked at her cold coffee. Yes it does. Tyler, that's why I'm here. I was in a sea of meaninglessness, with nothing around me but infinity. Then I spilled my coffee and you helped me clean it up. It was such a short moment, but it made me remember how important it is to connect with others. That kindness is important. That maybe I've been doing everything wrong. Tyler reached over the table and held her hand. You're not doing everything wrong. You're here, right? You're making an effort. That means something. Vera looked at their hands together as if she had found something very special. Over the course of 50,000 years, many beings had touched her. But none of them had felt like this. None had been given so freely without any plans or fear. Thanks, Tyler, she said softly. Because you are my friend. He promised always, not knowing that this friendship would soon change the whole galaxy. Tyler was sure that something big was about to happen. Vera had been on edge all week, canceling their Thursday meeting and sending him strange texts saying she needed to show him something important. She told him to meet her at Discovery Park instead of their usual cafe when Saturday finally came. The request felt important in some way, as if she needed room for whatever was about to happen. He saw her standing on the edge of the bluff, looking out over Puget Sound. The wind blew her hair with silver streaks around her face, and Tyler could see that her shoulders were tense even from a distance. She looked like someone getting ready to jump off a cliff, in a way. Hey, Tyler said as he walked over carefully. Are you okay? All week you've been acting strange. Vera turned to look at him, and Tyler could see real fear in her violet eyes. I need to show you who I really am. But I'm scared that things will change between us once you see. Vera, we've talked about this before. I don't care if you're a dragon, an alien, or anything else. You're a friend of mine. That won't change. You say that now, she said in a low voice. But you haven't seen. Tyler moved closer and spoke softly. Then show me. I believe in you. You know that, don't you? Vera took a shaky breath. Make me a promise. If you want to run away and never see me again, that's fine with me. I'll go and never bother you again. I'm not going to run. Just show me. Vera shut her eyes. For a little while nothing happened. Then Tyler felt it, The air was heavy as if the world itself was holding its breath. The temperature around them went down a few degrees. It was a warm June afternoon, but you could see his breath coming out in puffs. Vera's eyes opened wide, and the violet light was so bright that Tyler had to squint. He didn't though. He had promised not to run and he meant it. Her shape started to change. It wasn't like the movies, which were full of drama and violence. It was smooth and almost graceful. Her body seemed to grow and shrink at the same time, and reality bent around her. Behind her, huge, ghostly wings appeared. They looked like they were made of starlight and cosmic dust. They were at least 20 feet wide and sparkled with colors that Tyler couldn't name. Her skin changed color and became shiny, with scales that seemed to be in more than one dimension at once. Her features got sharper, more angular, and more otherworldly. Horns grew out of her temples. They were curved and beautiful, and they looked like crystallized moonlight. She felt energy crackling around her, and violet and silver electricity danced across her wings and shoulders. The ground under her feet was hot, and the grass was dying in a perfect circle. Tyler could feel waves of power coming from her, which made his skin tingle and his heart race. This was Vera. Not the woman in the cafe, but something old, strong, and terrifying in the most beautiful way possible. Tyler stood there with his mouth open, trying to figure out what he was seeing. He couldn't figure it out in his head. This wasn't just an alien. This was something that was real on a whole other level. Finally, he was able to say, "You're a dragon. A real live dragon. Not like a metaphor or something. You are the real deal." Vera's voice sounded different now. It was layered and resonant, like a lot of voices singing in harmony. "This is who I am. This is what I've been keeping from you." Tyler moved forward instead of backward. Vera flinched, clearly thinking he would run. "Tyler, you should be scared. Most beings in the galaxy are scared when they see what I really look like." Tyler moved even closer and said, "I'm not most beings." His scientist brain was getting in the way of his survival instincts. "This is amazing. You are amazing. How does the structure of the wing work? Are they made of matter or energy? And those scales on your skin are coming and going. Are you living in more than one dimension at the same time?" Vera was completely shocked and stared at him. "Are you asking about my biology?" "Of course. You are a dragon. A dragon in real life. Do you know how great this is?" Tyler was circling her, completely fascinated by how much she had changed. "Are you able to fly? You should be able to fly with wings like those. Is the energy discharge a defense mechanism or just a side effect of your power? What do you eat, man? Do you need to eat?" Vera started to laugh. It was a strange sound that mixed with her normal voice. The scary aura around her faded. "Tyler Bennett, you are the weirdest person I've ever met. That happens to me a lot. So really tell me everything. How big can you become? This isn't even your full size, is it?" Vera turned back into a person, and her wings and scales disappeared. But her eyes still had a faint glow. "No, this isn't my full size. I can get a lot bigger, big enough to wrap around a building or fly through the upper atmosphere." "That's really cool. And you're 50,000 years old? What was Earth like back then? Did you meet people from long ago? What about dinosaurs? Were you there when they were around?" Vera sat on the grass and pulled Tyler down next to her. "Yes, I saw your dinosaurs. These animals are amazing. I was sad when they died." "You saw them die out? That must have been awful." "It was one of many extinctions I've seen," Vera said in a low voice. "When you've lived as long as I have, you see everything come and go. Civilizations, species, and whole planets. Only beings like me last." Tyler could hear the loneliness in those words. "That's why you're so upset. You keep losing everything." "Yes. I now know not to get too close. It just hurts." "But you got close to me," Tyler said. "You kept coming back to the coffee shop. You let me in. You were showing me all of this." Vera looked at him with eyes that shone. "I did. Against my better judgment, against 50,000 years of learning not to care. I wanted to try again because of something about you." Tyler bumped her shoulder with his. "I'm glad you did. What else haven't you told me? You said you were in charge of something. What does that mean exactly?" Vera thought for a moment. "I rule over some areas. There are actually many star systems. Many different kinds of animals are my responsibility." "How many systems?" 10,000 more or less. Tyler's brain shorted out. 10,000 star systems? That's not a governor. That's an empress or something like that. Vera turned her head. Or something like that. "Hold on. Are you like a queen, Vera? Are you a queen?" "The title is different in each culture," Vera said carefully. "Some people call me empress. Some people call me a warlord. Some people call me goddess, but I don't like that. When I'm with you, I like Vera better. Tyler took his time with this information. His friend, the one who drank coffee and asked about his birthday party, ruled a big part of the galaxy. So when you said you had duties, you meant running an empire? Yes. And when you said you needed to get away, you meant from being in charge of thousands of worlds? Yes. And you decided to hide out in a Seattle coffee shop, where you drank bad coffee and listened to me complain about my job? Vera smiled gently. Your complaints were the most real conversation I'd had in a long time. People don't ask an empress how she feels. They want resources, judgment, and power. You wanted to know if I was lonely. That question isn't asked. Tyler lay back on his hands and looked up at the sky. My best friend is an old dragon empress who rules over half of the galaxy. That's how my life is now. Does it make a difference? Vera asked with a lot of fear. Yes, Tyler said. It helps me understand why you needed a friend so badly. It makes a lot more sense now why you felt so lonely. Time doesn't just keep you alone. Power keeps you alone. No one can see the person sitting on the throne. Except you, Vera said softly. Except for me, Tyler said. Because I met Vera first. The part about the Empress is just extra information. Vera's eyes stopped glowing and went back to their normal violet color. You really don't fear me? Should I be? Did you do something to hurt me? Did you threaten me? Have you ever been anything but a good friend? No, but I could. Tyler, I could wipe out your whole city with just one thought. I could flatten mountains. I've led fleets that make the sun go dark. But you won't, Tyler said plainly. Because that's not who you are. Vera, power does not define you. What you choose does. And you decided to be nice to a stranger in a cafe. Vera looked at him with a look of wonder. How did you get so smart? Not really. I just think that people are afraid of each other too much. We all just want to get through life without being alone. Apparently, even dragon empresses from long ago. A human and a dragon sat together and watched the sun set. They were both lonely and had found an unexpected friend in the strangest place. Something changed between them after Vera showed her true self. Tyler thought things would get awkward, but their friendship got stronger instead. Vera looked lighter, as if carrying around a big secret had been weighing her down more than she knew. Tyler was having the time of his life learning about dragon biology and galactic politics from someone who had actually lived it. But Tyler also saw that Vera had never really been to Earth. Not right. She had been hiding in that cafe, using the world as a safe house instead of a place to explore. He made the choice to change that. Tyler said, "We're going on an adventure," the next Saturday when he showed up at their meeting place with a backpack full of supplies. Vera looked like she didn't trust him. What kind of adventure? The kind of people. For 50,000 years, you've been all-powerful and in charge. Today you're just going to be a normal person and have fun. Not any Empress stuff. Vera said, I don't know how to be a normal person. Good thing I'm a great teacher. Come on. Tyler's first stop was the market at Pike Place. There were a lot of people on the weekend and they were packed in between the vendor stalls. Vera got tense right away, showing that she didn't like the chaos. Too many people, she said quietly. I can feel them all. It's too much for me to handle their feelings and their life forces. Then stop using your dragon senses or whatever, Tyler said. Just use your normal senses. Check out the flowers. Take a whiff of the fresh bread. Listen to the musicians. Vera made an effort. Tyler looked at her face as she focused on the here and now instead of the cosmic awareness she usually had. A street musician was playing an old folk song on his guitar near the fish market. People smiled as they walked by. The flower sellers had arranged their bouquets in bright colors that looked like explosions. A nearby stall had the smell of fresh donuts. Vera said softly, It's beautiful. I had forgotten what it's like to just watch without thinking about it, without figuring out how dangerous it is and what it means for politics. Tyler smiled and said, That's what living is. Come on, we're going to give you a real human experience. He bought her a bouquet of sunflowers because she had stopped to look at them for a whole minute. He made her eat a mini donut, which she didn't want to do at first, but Tyler looked at her so sadly that she gave in. She bit off a small piece and her eyes got big. Is this what people taste? She asked in awe. Yes. Basically, sugar and happiness. They watched the fish throwers do their thing, and Vera laughed when one of them dropped a salmon on purpose to make it funny. Tyler got them both coffee from the first Starbucks, and this time Vera actually drank some of it even though it was bitter. Do people eat this on purpose? It's a taste you have to get used to. Take your time. After that, Tyler took her to the waterfront. They took the ferry across Puget Sound and stood at the railing while the wind blew their hair and seagulls cried above them. Vera held on to the railing tightly, but she was really happy. I've crossed galaxies, she said, her voice barely audible over the water. I've gone through wormholes and through storms in space. But I've never been on a boat before. Not like this just for fun. Tyler said, that's too bad. When was the last time you did something just for fun? Vera thought about it for a long time. I really can't remember. That night, Tyler took her to a small music venue in Capitol Hill. There was a band from the area playing. They weren't famous, just 5 people who liked making music together. There were maybe 50 people in the crowd and they were all swaying and singing along. Vera stood in the back, watching with interest. They're making art together. Working together without a formal chain of command or hierarchy. That's all they're doing. Tyler said, that's what people do best. We make things for no other reason than that it makes us feel alive. They walked through the neighborhood after the show as the sun went down. Tyler took them to a quiet place in Cary Park where they could see the city skyline and Mount Rainier in the distance. The lights of Seattle below them twinkled like stars on the ground. Vera said softly, this was a good day. Yes, it was. Tyler, can I talk to you for a second? You look happy. Not rich, not powerful, and working a job you don't really like. But you're really happy. Oh. Tyler thought about the question as he leaned back on the bench. I guess it's because I don't think of my life in terms of big accomplishments. I use moments like this to measure it. Good company, good music, and good coffee. My life isn't very exciting by galactic standards, but it's mine. I have a connection to it. Connected to people. But you have so few options, Vera said, not unkindly. You might live for 80 years if you're lucky. You probably won't ever leave your solar system. You'll never see the things I've seen or do the things I've done. That's right, Tyler said. But I'll never be so numb that a donut surprises me. I will always remember how it feels to laugh at a fish thrower who is bad at it. Vera, I won't live forever, but I will live the years I do have. Can you say that too? Vera flinched as if he had hit her. That's not right. Isn't it? You have a lot of power and time, but you're not happy. You left your whole empire because you couldn't remember how to feel anything real. That's not a life. That's just being. What should I do? Vera's voice broke. I have things to do. My choices affect quadrillions of beings. I can't just leave them to go ride ferries and eat donuts. Tyler said softly, I'm not saying to leave them. Maybe you're doing it wrong, I'm saying. You've been in charge for 50,000 years, using power and fear, right? Being this scary, far-off person. How's that going for you? Obviously badly. Then change it. You are a dragon empress with all the power in the world. You are the only one who can change the rules. Vera shook her head. It's not that easy. The galaxy knows what power is. They value strength. Everything I've worked for will fall apart if I show weakness or look weak. Tyler turned to look right at her. Vera, pay attention to me. Being real is the most powerful thing you can do. People have known that for a long time. The best leaders aren't the ones who act like they are perfect. They are the ones who say they are scared and having a hard time, but they keep going anyway. That's what makes people feel good. Not strength. Connection. You're talking about something that can't happen. Tyler said, I'm talking about what you've been doing with me for the past month. You've been weak. You've been honest. And did I lose respect for you? Did I think you were weak? No, Vera said softly. Exactly. I had more respect for you. Because I saw the person who was behind all that cosmic power. I saw someone who was brave enough to say she was lonely and lost. That takes more guts than blowing up planets. Vera didn't say anything for a long time. She just looked at the city lights. My advisors would call you a fool. That you don't know how power works in space or how politics works there. Tyler said, your advisors sound boring. When was the last time they made you laugh? When was the last time they asked you how you were doing? Not once. Maybe they're the ones who don't get it then. Maybe being in charge of an empire shouldn't mean losing yourself along the way. Vera put her head on Tyler's shoulder, which she had never done before. How did someone with no power or money become the smartest person I know? Tyler said, I don't have power or resources. Connection is all I have. In the end, it's the only thing that really matters. You can take over 1,000 worlds, but what's the point if you're alone? They sat together as the sky got darker and stars started to show up. Vera's empire was waiting for her up there. She was in charge of thousands of worlds, billions of ships, and quadrillions of beings. And down here she was just Vera, a sad dragon who was learning how to be a person again. Thanks, she said softly. For what? Thanks for reminding me that I'm not just a throne. I'm not just a title, a weapon, or a sign. I deserve to have friends, eat donuts, and ride ferries. Tyler smiled. Everyone should have that. Even the empresses of dragons from long ago. Neither of them knew that this talk would change everything. Because Vera was paying attention. Paying close attention. And she was beginning to think that there might be another way to rule. Better way. A way that is human. Tyler was cooking dinner in his tiny apartment when his whole world blew up. He was stirring pasta sauce and humming along to an old rock song on the radio 1 second. The next second there was a loud bang at his front door, and wooden shards flew across the room. 6 figures appeared out of nowhere. They were not people. It was clear right away that much. Their armor looked like it was made of living metal that moved and flowed over their bodies. Their helmets didn't have any visible eye holes. They were just smooth surfaces that somehow made him feel like they were looking right through him. Each one had a weapon that hummed with barely contained energy. Tyler's brain stuttered as it tried to make sense of what he was seeing. Then he started to use his instincts to stay alive. He picked up the only weapon he could find, a baseball bat leaning against the wall, and held it up with shaking hands. Leave my apartment. The main character stepped forward. The voice came from all over at once and went straight to Tyler's brain, making his teeth hurt. Primitive human, you will give up the location of Her Eternal Majesty right away. If you don't follow the rules, you will be fired. Her what? I don't know what you're talking about. Another soldier raised his gun and aimed it right at Tyler's chest. This is where the Dragon Empress has been found. You will tell us where she is, or we will get the information out of your head and kill you. Tyler's heart raced against his ribs. Empress of Dragons. They were searching for Vera. I don't know anyone with that name. You have the wrong person. The soldier said coldly, your biometrics show that you are lying. Starting the extraction protocol. The weapon started to shine more brightly. Tyler was sure that he was going to die. He held on to the baseball bat tightly, even though he knew it wouldn't help, because he didn't want to give up without trying. Then reality fell apart. It started as a crack in the air like someone had cut space with a knife. Tyler had to cover his eyes because the opening let in so much violet light. The room got so cold so quickly that frost formed on the windows in a matter of seconds. Tyler's breath came out in clouds of mist. Vera stepped through the crack, but this wasn't the nice lady from the cafe. This was something completely different. She was at least 15 feet tall, and her true dragon form was fully visible. Her scales shone like polished obsidian, and each one had a silver light around it. Her wings were so big that they hit the ceiling of Tyler's apartment and sent pieces of plaster raining down. Her eyes were so powerful that they made the sun look dim. A crown appeared above her head. It wasn't a real thing but pure condensed starlight that spun slowly and cast rainbow-colored shadows on the walls. Energy crackled around her like lightning, making purple and silver arcs that burned the floor wherever they touched. Her voice shook the whole building when she spoke. Tyler felt it in his bones, teeth, and deepest parts of his soul. You dare to threaten him? Right away the 6 soldiers fell to their knees. They all dropped their weapons to the floor at the same time as they pressed their helmets to the ground. Majesty forever. Please forgive us. We didn't know that this person was safe with you. Tyler stood still, bat still raised, trying to figure out what was going on. This was Vera. His friend Vera asked about birthday parties and ate donuts for the first time. But this version of her had so much raw power that he could hardly breathe. The air seemed to bend around her. Another figure appeared, this one unarmed and dressed in beautiful robes that looked like they were made of liquid silver. It had 4 arms and skin that changed color between blue and purple. It looked like a person, but it was clearly not. As soon as it saw Vera in all her glory, it bowed so low that its forehead touched the ground. The figure said in a smooth, cultured voice, Your Imperial Highness. Your chief advisor is Lord Catherine. The Galactic Council has asked me to ask you to come back right away. The Empire is in trouble without you. Tyler finally spoke up. Imperial Highness? What is he talking about, Vera? Vera got a little smaller, and her shape became less overwhelming, but it was still very far from human. She looked at Tyler like she was ashamed. I'm so sorry, Tyler. I should have told you the truth. More honest about what? What is going on? Lord Catherine straightened up and moved his 4 arms in a dramatic way. This person doesn't know? Your Majesty, you've been hanging out with a primitive being who doesn't even know who you are? Be careful with your tone, Vera growled, and the advisor jumped. Tyler's mind was racing as he tried to put things together. Vera, these soldiers called you Eternal Majesty. This person called you Imperial Highness. You said you were in charge of some star systems. How many systems exactly? Vera looked him in the eye and he could see real fear there. He realized he was afraid of losing him. 10,000 systems. 300 billion planets. About 500 species that are smart. My name is Verathraxia, and I am the Dragon Empress of the Galactic Imperium. I am in charge of everything from the edge of Andromeda to the center of the galaxy. Tyler slowly put the baseball bat down. His knees were weak. You're more than just an empress. You are the empress. You are in charge of the galaxy. Half of it technically, Lord Catherine said. Other powers share the other half, but they all agree that Her Majesty is the most powerful. Not helping, Vera hissed at him. Tyler sat down hard on his couch, which had a thin layer of frost on it. My friend who loves coffee and music and got excited about donuts. You are the strongest being in the whole galaxy. Yes, Vera said in a low voice, getting smaller until she was only a little taller than Tyler. I'm sorry I wasn't completely honest. I was afraid you'd act differently toward me if you knew the whole truth. Lord Catherine cleared his throat. Your Majesty, aside from personal matters, things are very bad. In your absence, 3 major groups have started to move their fleets. The Crack's Dominion, the League of Prosperity, and the Celestial Order are all trying to get the upper hand. They think they can take power without you being on the throne. We have 72 hours until open war. Millions will die. Vera's shoulders drooped. Tyler could see the weight of all the responsibility and burden she had been trying to get away from settling back on her. Then I have to go back, she said softly. I'll get my stuff together. Tyler said, no, all of a sudden. Everyone in the room turned to look at him. Lord Catherine's face made it look like he thought Tyler was crazy. The soldiers' helmets followed his every move with a clear sense of danger. Excuse me? Vera asked. Tyler got up, still holding the baseball bat because why not? You're doing it again. Running away. You ran from your throne to Earth last time. You're running back to your throne from Earth now. Vera, you're always running. Tyler, there are billions of lives at stake. I don't have time for philosophy. I'm not trying to be deep. I'm being sensible. Tyler pointed at Lord Catherine. You said 3 groups are about to fight. What? What do they really want? Lord Catherine looked upset when someone spoke to him directly. It's clear that they want to change imperial policy. Everyone has their own ideas about how the empire should be run. And what has Vera been up to for the last 50,000 years? Keeping order through power and strength. Has she ever just spoken to them? Like really sat down and talked about what they need? That's not how empires work, you primitive. Tyler didn't pay any attention to the insult. Vera, you spent the last month learning how to be a person. You learned about being real instead of just powerful, about being vulnerable and about connection. You said it made you feel alive for the first time in hundreds of years. And now you're going to go back to the way things used to be? Are you going back to being sad and alone? What options do I have? Vera's voice broke. People are going to die. So keep them safe, but keep them in your own way. The new way. The way of people. Vera looked at him. You're crazy. Tyler agreed, probably. But I'm also correct. You don't have to choose between doing your duty and being happy. You can be both a person and an empress. You can rule with both power and heart. Lord Catherine made a noise of disgust. This is crazy. We must leave right away, Your Majesty. This person doesn't know anything about politics in the galaxy. Maybe that's why you should listen to him, Vera said slowly, never taking her eyes off of Tyler. There was so much tension in Tyler's ruined apartment that it felt like you could cut it with a knife. Lord Catherine stood there with his arms crossed and a look of disapproval on his face. The soldiers stayed on their knees, not sure if they should be horrified or fascinated by the person who was challenging their empress. And Vera, who looked like a dragon and was both beautiful and scary, was really thinking about what Tyler had said. Explain yourself, Vera said, and Tyler could tell that she had gone back to her imperial voice, the one that made everything shake. Tyler put down his baseball bat and took a deep breath. His heart was still racing from almost being blown up, but the adrenaline made him brave. Is that how you've ruled for 50,000 years? Be scary, stay away, and be strong. Make everyone so scared of you that they stay in line. It has stayed stable, Lord Catherine said. Has it though? Tyler asked. From what I'm hearing, the whole thing starts to fall apart as soon as Vera goes on vacation. That's not stable. That's fear with a thin layer of order. One of the soldiers made a noise that could have been agreement, but then he quickly stopped. Vera's eyes narrowed. Go on. Hey, I'm not a politician or a military strategist. I move boxes around at a spaceport. But I know people. And here's what I've learned. You don't get people to be loyal when you rule through fear. You make people angry. As soon as you show weakness, everyone fights for power because they never believed in you. They just thought you wouldn't destroy them. That's a pretty harsh judgment, Vera said softly. Is it wrong? For a long time she didn't say anything. No, it's not wrong. Lord Catherine protested. Your Majesty, you can't be taking this primitive's ideas about how to run a country seriously, can you? He doesn't know how to run an empire or how to keep the power balance right across thousands of systems. Tyler got mad at him. I agree, I don't know how to run an empire. But I do know a lot about people. I know that people used to kill each other over resources, but now they explore the stars together. Want to know how? We stopped thinking of each other as threats and started thinking of each other as people. We made systems that were based on connection, not fear. Catherine said, people still have wars, poverty, and crime. Yes, we're not perfect, but we're giving it our all. We're getting smarter. And we've only been civilized for a few thousand years. Vera's been around for 50,000 years, and she's so unhappy that she ran away to drink coffee with a stranger. Tyler turned to Vera. You taught me something over the past few weeks. You showed me what it feels like to be alone when you have all the power. And it makes me so sad. Vera's huge body sparkled, and she got smaller until she was the size of a person. The starlight crown faded away. She suddenly seemed small and weak. Tyler, I can't change 50,000 years of imperial policy in 3 days, even if you're right. Those groups are about to go to war. So don't change everything. Change only one thing. Talk to them. Talk. Catherine really did laugh. Your Majesty, these are the leaders of factions with huge fleets and old grudges. You don't talk to people like that. You tell them what to do. And how has that been going? Tyler wanted to know. Clearly, telling them what to do isn't enough anymore. They're about to start a war. Vera walked to Tyler's window and looked out at the Seattle skyline. Frost was still on the glass from her dramatic entrance. What you're saying has never been done before. The Empress doesn't talk business. The Empress says. Tyler said softly, maybe that's the problem. Vera, you said that no one really knows you. They know the throne, the power, and the story. But they don't know you. What if you let them see? What if you showed them that you're not just a force of nature but a real person who cares? They'll think it's a sign of weakness. Tyler said, or they'll see it as strength. The kind of strength that doesn't have to prove itself all the time. I was scared for about 10 seconds when you showed me your true form. I was curious after that. Then I liked you even more because you were brave enough to trust me. One of the soldiers spoke up out of the blue. May I speak, Your Majesty? Vera turned around in surprise. Okay. The soldier took off her helmet, showing a face covered in silver scales and glowing golden eyes. I've been in the Imperial Guard for 200 years. I've seen you from a distance and been inspired by how strong you are. But I've never heard you talk like this with another person. You sound like a real person. This is the first time I felt like I'm protecting a person instead of a symbol. Catherine's skin turned a darker purple. Captain Rixel, that is very rude. But she's right, another soldier said, taking off his helmet as well. Soon, all 6 of them had taken off their helmets and were looking at Vera with something other than fear. It looked a lot like hope. Vera didn't move at all. Are you saying you'd follow me even if I showed weakness? Captain Rixel said carefully, Your Majesty, we would follow you into black holes if you asked. But it would be easier if we knew why. If we knew what we were protecting besides just keeping the peace. Tyler felt a rush of excitement. Look, you don't have to be a scary god to help them. You have to be a leader they can trust. This is crazy, Catherine said under his breath, but Tyler could tell he wasn't as sure of himself anymore. Vera looked back at Tyler. If I do this and it doesn't work, the cost will be terrible. The chaos that follows could kill billions. Tyler said, and if you keep doing things the way you always have, you'll be unhappy forever. Those billions will be alive, but they will be living in a system based on fear instead of connection. Is that really better? Captain Rixel said, he makes a strong case. Vera walked back to Tyler and stopped right in front of him. Even when she was a person, she gave off power. Do you know what you're asking? I'll need your help if I do this. I need you to come with me and help me remember how to be a person when all I've ever known is how to be a goddess. Tyler's stomach dropped. Do you want me to go with you? To the sky? To your empire? Yes. Vera, I'm nobody. I'm just a guy who moves things around. You're the first person in 50,000 years who didn't see me as a force of nature, Vera said softly. You taught me that connection is more important than power. I need you to be there to keep me honest if I want to rule differently. It looked like Lord Catherine was going to have a stroke. Your Majesty, you can't be serious. An early human as an advisor to the Emperor? The council will rise up. The nobles will be offended by it. The very basis of... Then let them revolt, Vera said with a hard voice. Let the nobles be insulted. For 50,000 years, I've done what everyone else thought I should do. It's possible that I should do what I think is right. Tyler's head was spinning. Get off Earth? Go to other worlds? Give an empress advice on things that are important to the whole galaxy? It was crazy. There was no way. It was everything he had ever wanted while watching ships leave the spaceport. He heard himself say, "Okay. I'll do it. Only if—" "Say it," Vera said right away. "You really pay attention to these leaders of factions. You don't just show up and scare them into giving up. You listen to them. You try to figure out what they really want. And you look for answers that don't involve anyone dying or being scared into doing what you want." Vera reached out her hand. "I promise you." Tyler shook it and felt the strange energy that was always around her. "Then I guess I'm going to space. I should probably get my bags ready." "We have time," Vera said with a smile. 3 days before the point of no return. That gives us 3 days to figure out how to use human wisdom and dragon power to save an empire. Captain Rixel moved forward. "Your Majesty, if I may, I believe what you're doing is brave. No matter how the Council reacts, my unit is ready to help you." The other soldiers nodded to show they agreed. Catherine let out a deep sigh, and all 4 of his arms fell to his sides in defeat. "Your Majesty, I've been serving you for 3,000 years. I guess I can put up with serving you while you try to do the impossible. I want it to be known that I told them not to do this." "Noted and recorded," Vera said with a smile. Tyler looked around his ruined apartment. The windows were frosted, the floor had scorch marks, and there was a huge hole where his door used to be. "My landlord is going to kill me," Vera said. "I'll take care of it. Think of it as an advance on your salary as the human liaison to the imperial throne." "That's really my title? I'm open to ideas if you have a better one." Tyler smiled anyway. "What about friend who keeps the Empress honest?" Vera's laugh was bright and real. "Great. Now let's go save the galaxy." Tyler could never have imagined how hard the trip to the imperial capital would be. The Celestial Dawn, Vera's flagship, was more like a floating city than a ship. It went on for miles in every direction and had more than 50,000 crew members from many different species. On the first day, Tyler just tried not to get lost in the hallways. His room was bigger than the whole apartment he lived in Seattle. Vera called it a dimensional fold, and the windows from floor to ceiling showed the stars streaking by as they moved through it. Captain Rixel had said that it was like taking a shortcut through the fabric of space itself, but Tyler's mind still couldn't quite get it. The briefing on the second day really got to him. Vera brought her command staff to a war room that was in the middle of a round room. There were holographic displays all around them that showed star maps, fleet positions, and data that scrolled too quickly for Tyler to read. "The situation is worse than we thought," Lord Catherine said, using 2 of his hands to control the display and the other 2 to hold data tablets. "The Crack's Dominion has put battle fleets along the outer rim. The League of Prosperity has sent out its merchant fleet, which has more than 10,000 armed ships, even though it is not officially a military fleet. And the Celestial Order has set its temple ships in motion." Tyler looked at the display and tried to figure out the scale. "How many ships are we talking about in all?" "About 47,000 combat-ready ships," a reptilian officer said. "The total number of crew and support staff is in the billions." Tyler said billions again and again, feeling dizzy. "Millions of people ready to fight." Vera said in a low voice, "They won't really fight." With her arms crossed, she stood in the middle of the room and looked at the tactical display with old eyes. "They're acting tough and trying to scare each other into backing down. But when everyone is scared and armed, posturing can become real." "What do they really want?" Tyler asked. "Like really want?" "Not the answer that politicians would give, but the answer that people would give." Catherine seemed annoyed by the question. "The Cracks want to be able to expand their military into areas that are neutral. The League wants fewer taxes and trade barriers. The Celestials want the government to officially recognize their religion as the imperial religion. So one group wants land, another wants money, and a third wants to be right," Tyler said. "Those 2 goals don't conflict with each other. What are they fighting about?" "Because they don't believe in each other," Vera said. "Or me. They believe that if they don't take control now, someone else will. Fear, not real conflict, is what is going on here." Tyler said, "Then we need to get rid of the fear." An insectoid officer chittered something that the translator turned into, "Human, it's easier said than done. These groups have been at odds with each other for hundreds of years." Tyler stared at Vera. "When was the last time you really met with their leaders? I mean in person." For a moment, Vera was quiet. 300 years ago. I called them to the throne world for a ceremony of obedience. They got down on one knee, swore loyalty, and left. That's not a meeting. That's a hostage situation with rules. Several officers gasped in shock at how blunt Tyler was. Catherine's skin turned purple again. But Vera laughed. You are completely right. I've been acting like they're things that need to be managed instead of people who need to be worked with. Of course they don't trust me, Tyler said, so ask them to a real meeting. Not a ceremony for compliance or anything. A real talk where everyone can speak and be heard. They'll never agree, Catherine said right away. Coming to the capital means the Empress can do whatever she wants with them. They will think it is a trap. Tyler thought for a minute. Then meet them in a place that isn't theirs. Somewhere none of you have an advantage in power. Make it clear that this is about talking and not showing strength. Vera's eyes lit up. The Harmony Station. It's a diplomatic outpost where the territories of all three factions meet. An old treaty made this area neutral. Military ships are not allowed within 10,000 kilometers. Your Majesty, the risk to your safety, Captain Rixel started. Is okay, Vera said at the end. Tyler is right. I need to be open and honest with them first if I want them to trust me enough to be vulnerable. Send out the invites. Let them know that this is a personal request from me, not an order from the Emperor. They can bring advisors, talk freely, and no one will be punished for being honest. The command staff didn't seem sure. This had never happened before. Empresses didn't ask for meetings. They told people to come. Responses came in over the next 24 hours. Everyone was surprised when the Crack's War Master agreed right away. The High Merchant of the League took longer, but he finally agreed. The Supreme Pontiff of the Celestial Order sent a message full of doubt but said he would be there. Tyler saw the full extent of the crisis for the first time when they got to Harmony Station. The station itself was a huge ring-shaped building that was built to meet the needs of many different types of animals. But the fleets were all around it, just outside the area where weapons were not allowed. There were thousands of ships in space that looked like schools of metal fish. Tyler could see the sharp, aggressive shapes of Crack's warships, which were full of weapons. The League ships were faster and had more armor than the other ships. The temple ships of the Celestial Order were beautiful, with religious symbols all over them and strange energy coming from them. Tyler said, that's a lot of firepower. Enough to wipe out a few solar systems, Vera said. Welcome to politics in the galaxy. The meeting room at Harmony Station was meant to be simple. There was a round table with equal chairs, no throne, and no one was better than anyone else. Tyler found the three faction leaders already there when he walked in with Vera. They weren't what he had expected. The Crack's War Master was huge, at least 8 feet tall, and his body armor looked like it was made of chitin. But his eyes were tired, and he walked slowly and carefully, like someone who was carrying too much weight. The League's High Merchant was a crystal-like being whose body bent light into rainbow patterns. She looked rich and powerful, but Tyler noticed that her shape flickered a little, like a hologram with a weak signal. He realized he was stressed. The Supreme Pontiff of the Celestial Order was the most shocking. Small and weak-looking, with skin that is see-through and veins that glow. They looked old and sad. When Vera walked in, all three of them stood up and bowed, which is what people do when they see an emperor. Vera raised a hand. Please don't. Today I'm not the Empress. As someone who wants to know what's going on and work together to find a solution, I'm here. The three leaders looked at each other with uncertainty. This wasn't how things were supposed to be done. Empresses didn't act this way. Tyler moved forward. Hello, I'm Tyler. I'm a person from Earth, and I'm here because I'm good at asking questions that make people uncomfortable. So here's the first one. What are you all really scared of? The War Master's mandibles clicked, which could have been a laugh. Straight. Thanks for that. He turned to Vera. May I speak freely, Your Majesty? That's why we're here, Vera said as she sat down and waved for everyone else to do the same. The War Master sat down, and the armor plates on his chair scraped against each other. I'm worried that my people will be forgotten. The Cracks used to be warriors and conquerors. But we've become useless because of imperial peace. It feels like everything that makes us who we are, including our culture and identity, is slipping away. Greed isn't what expansion is about. It's about keeping our way of life alive. The High Merchant's crystal body pulsed. I'm afraid the Empire will put so many restrictions on us that we'll have nothing left. The League stands for thousands of worlds of merchants. Every new rule, tax, and barrier makes it harder for our people to do well. We don't want too much. We're in trouble. The voice of the Supreme Pontiff was barely a whisper. I'm sorry, but we don't matter. That an empress who is older than most religions thinks our faith, beliefs, and even our souls are not important. We don't want recognition for power, we want it because we need to know you see us. Everyone in the room stopped talking. Tyler looked at Vera and saw that she was crying. Tears from a being who had been in charge for 50,000 years. "I've let you down," Vera said softly. "All of you. I've been so focused on keeping things in order that I forgot that you are people with needs and fears. I made you feel like you weren't there, like you were old, and like you were being strangled. I'm so sorry." The three leaders looked at her in shock. Empresses never said they were sorry. Empresses never cried. Vera went on, "I don't have any answers yet. But I want to find them. With you, not for you. Let me know what you need. I really need it. And let's figure out how to make it work." And they talked. They really talked. The factions and the Empress talked for the first time in hundreds of years, maybe even ever. The talk at Harmony Station went on for 14 hours without stopping. Tyler watched as years of anger and fear slowly turned into something that looked like understanding. It was hard. There were times when voices got louder, old accusations came up, and it looked like everything would fall apart. But every time things got tense, Vera would say something personal and vulnerable, and the mood in the room would change. She told them how lonely she was. For so long that she had forgotten how to connect with anyone while she was in charge. About running away to Earth because she couldn't remember what it was like to be a person instead of a force of nature. The War Master had been very moved. "You felt old too," he said with a look of wonder on his face. "You were as lost as we are when you met the Great Dragon Empress, who was more powerful than you can imagine." "Power doesn't keep you from being alone," Vera had said. "It makes things worse, if anything." By the end of those 14 hours, they had worked out the basics of what Vera called the Harmony Accords. The cracks would be given specific areas to expand into that were not inhabited, with the idea that their culture could grow through exploration and challenge instead of conquest. The League would get lower taxes in exchange for open trade and investment in systems that are not yet fully developed. The Celestial Order would be recognized and protected as a culture, with the understanding that faith is a personal choice, not an imperial order. It wasn't perfect. There were things to figure out and compromises that made everyone a little uneasy. But it was real. It was based on talking instead of giving orders. When they were done, the Supreme Pontiff had done something that had never been done before. They walked over to Vera and put a clear hand on her shoulder. "Thanks for coming to see us. Seeing us for real. I've been the Supreme Pontiff for 400 years, and this is the first time the throne has listened to me." The news of the Harmony Accords spread through the galaxy like a fire. Some people said it was revolutionary. Some people said it was weak. Lord Kethrin said that the Imperial Council was experiencing collective apoplexy. Tyler got his first real look at the heart of Vera's empire when he got back to the throne world. Luminar was the name of the planet, and it was beautiful. Cities made of crystal and light covered whole continents. The palace was built out of a mountain that had been shaped by dragon fire over thousands of years. Tyler felt dizzy just looking at it because it was so beautiful, scary, and strange. The meeting of the Imperial Council was his first real test. Vera had made him go, even though Kethrin strongly disagreed. Tyler was in a room the size of a football stadium, with beings from all over the galaxy around him. Some looked like people, others were shapes of energy, and at least 3 looked like they were partly in other dimensions. "This is crazy," said a council member who looked like a moving tree. "Your Majesty, you have given up your imperial power. You have shown weakness. The empire will fall." "She was strong," Tyler said before he could stop himself. Everyone in the room stopped talking. Hundreds of alien eyes turned to look at the person who had the nerve to speak without being asked. Vera didn't stop him. She told him to keep going instead. "Tyler, it's your turn." Tyler stood up and his legs shook. "Hey, I'm just a guy from Earth. I don't get how politics work in space or how power used to work. But I do get people. And here's what I saw at Harmony Station. Leaders who were ready to fight not because they were bad, but because they were scared and didn't feel heard." Vera didn't show that she was weak by listening to them. She had the kind of strength that doesn't need to prove itself all the time. The tree counselor said, "Humans don't know how to manage an empire." Tyler shot back, "Maybe that's why you should listen. You've been running this empire the same way for thousands of years. How's that going? You have groups that are ready to fight each other, people who are afraid of their own government, and an empress who was so unhappy that she left. Maybe it's time to do something new." A liquid metal counselor spoke up. "The person makes a good point. The old ways were making things unstable, not stopping them. Change is always hard," Vera said. "But being stuck is death. Even for empires. I'm not giving up my power. I'm going to use it in a different way. To build loyalty through connection instead of fear." The argument went on for hours. But the council slowly started to understand the point. Tyler knew that some people would never accept it. There would be opposition and maybe even sabotage. But there were enough council members who were willing to try that Vera could move on. Vera put her changes into action in a planned way over the next few months. She set up what she called the Council of Voices, which was a group of people from all over the world who could talk to the imperial government directly every 3 months. Millions of people had applied for the first session. Vera had spent 3 weeks listening to people's worries, complaints, and suggestions. She also changed how she looked when she was out in public. She didn't just show up as a scary cosmic dragon, she also took on forms that were easier to talk to. She went to worlds in person, not for compliance ceremonies but to make real connections. She ate with regular people, visited farms and factories, asked questions and really listened to the answers. The galaxy was amazed that their scary empress was now available while still being powerful. It was a fragile balance and there were times when things went wrong. Some people thought that being nice was a sign of weakness and tried to take advantage of it. Vera had to remind them from time to time, sometimes in a dramatic way, that she was still the Dragon Empress and still had full control when she needed it. But most of the time the changes worked. The fleets that had gathered at Harmony Station went their separate ways without any problems. There was more trade. Cultural exchanges thrived. Systems that had been held back started to do well. It wasn't perfect and it didn't happen right away, but things were getting better. Tyler's job changed as well. He was Vera's sounding board, the person who kept her grounded when the weight of empire threatened to make her forget what they had learned together. He also became a bit of a celebrity, the person who had an effect on an empress. There were a lot of requests for interviews. People called him a visionary. Some people thought he was a dangerous radical who was ruining old ways of life. Tyler just tried to be himself and remember that he was still the same guy who moved boxes at a spaceport in Seattle not too long ago. 6 months after the changes, things went wrong. Tyler and Vera were talking about plans for educational reform as they walked through the palace gardens. Then all of a sudden reality screamed a warning. Vera's head jerked up and her eyes were on fire. Get down? She threw herself over Tyler as energy beams shot through the air where they had been standing. Assassins came out of stealth fields with their weapons raised. There were multiple shooters working together to attack Vera from different angles. Tyler didn't think. While Vera was fighting off other attackers, he saw one assassin getting ready to shoot her in the back. He jumped on the shooter and tackled them just as they shot. The plasma bolt that was supposed to hit Vera's spine hit Tyler instead, burning through his chest and shoulder. He had never felt pain like this before. It felt like someone had poured hot metal into his veins. He heard Vera scream his name and saw her turn into a full dragon in a burst of cosmic rage. The killers never had a chance. She destroyed them with a single thought, turning them into less than atoms. Then she was human again, holding Tyler in her arms as he gasped for air that wouldn't come. No, no, no. Stay with me, Tyler. Don't you dare die. Tyler was able to whisper, worth it. Couldn't let them hurt you. You idiot. You brave, beautiful fool. Imperial medical teams got there in a matter of seconds. They took Tyler to the Palace Medical Center right away, where alien doctors worked hard to save his life. Vera wouldn't leave his side, and her tears fell on his face while they worked. 3 days later, Tyler woke up in a hospital bed with Vera asleep in a chair next to him, still holding his hand. Her eyes flew open right away when he moved. You are awake, she said. Thank the stars that you're awake. Did we win? Tyler asked, he said with a hoarse voice. Vera was crying and laughing at the same time. Yes, you fool. We did it. The killers were extreme traditionalists who thought that killing you would stop the changes. Instead, they showed exactly why the changes are important. The whole galaxy saw a human who was ready to die to protect me. Different species taking care of each other has become a symbol of the new empire. Okay, Tyler said. That's good. Vera whispered, I love you. I should have said it sooner. Tyler, I love you. You've changed everything. Tyler weakly squeezed her hand. I love you too. Even if you are a dragon empress who is scary. Especially because I'm a scary dragon empress, she said with a watery smile. The galaxy was changing outside the medical center. The attempt to kill Vera had the opposite effect, rallying support for her new way of leading. Even systems that were doubtful supported her because of the story of a dragon and a human who chose to connect instead of being alone. Tyler tried to hold on to 5 years that felt like a dream but couldn't quite get a grip on. He wore the scar on his chest like a badge of honor after the plasma wound had healed. His job as human liaison was now permanent, but most days he felt more like Vera's anchor to reality than a diplomat. He helped her deal with the constant stress of being an all-powerful empress and someone who just wanted to connect with others. The changes were going better than anyone had thought they would. With representatives from every major system, the Council of Voices had become a permanent body. Trade disagreements that could have led to wars were now settled through conversation. Cultural exchanges had turned suspicion into understanding. The galaxy wasn't perfect, but it was getting better and learning. It was becoming more than just a bunch of worlds held together by fear. Tyler had gotten older, though. He could see it in the mirror every day. Lines around his eyes that weren't there when he first met Vera. His hair is starting to turn gray. His body moved a little slower and took a little longer to recover from staying up late to go over policy proposals. He was 37 now, and even though that wasn't old by any means, time was doing what time always does to people. Of course, Vera looked just like she did the first time they met in that Seattle cafe. At first they didn't talk about it. They both tried to ignore the elephant in the room, which was the math behind their relationship. Tyler might have had 50 good years left if he was lucky. Vera had forever. No amount of love or connection could change the fact that the numbers didn't add up. Of all people, it was Lord Kethrin who finally made the conversation happen. Over the years he had become something like a friend to Tyler. At first he didn't like him, but then he grew to respect him. One night he saw Tyler alone in the palace observatory, looking at Earth through the huge telescopes. "She could make your life longer," Kethrin said right away. "Dragon magic can do amazing things. She could give you hundreds, maybe even thousands of years." "I know," Tyler said softly. "Then why didn't you ask?" Tyler looked away from the telescope. "Because then I wouldn't be human anymore. I'd be something else, something I don't get. And I think one reason Vera and I get along is that I'm not immortal. I have a different sense of time. I value moments differently because I know they won't last long." Kethrin's forearms crossed in a way that Tyler knew meant he was thinking deeply. "You'd rather die than spend time with her?" "I don't want to die. I'm picking life. My life is a person with all the messy, short, and beautiful things that come with it. I believe Vera needs that. Someone who knows that not everything lasts forever and that the things that are only there for a short time are often the most valuable." Kethrin said softly, "You're braver than I thought you were." But there was no way to avoid talking to Vera forever. It happened on a quiet night in their private room, which Vera had made to feel like the Seattle cafe where they first met. She even put in a coffee maker, even though she didn't drink it. "We need to talk about the future," Vera said, her voice so low that it was hard to hear. Tyler put down the report he had been reading. "I know. I've been looking into it. You can live longer in some ways. Not just decades but hundreds of years. You wouldn't have to change into something else. You would still be you but for longer." "Vera? Please let me finish." Her hands were shaking. "I've been alive for 50,000 years. I've watched civilizations come and go. I've lost people I cared about because of time, distance, and the fact that nothing lasts. Tyler, I'm tired of losing people. I can't lose you as well." Tyler sat down next to her and took her shaking hands in his. "You're not losing me. Not like you think." She said, "You'll die. In 50 years, maybe 60 if you're lucky. You'll be gone, but I'll still be here, living for another 50,000 years without you. How is that not losing you?" "Because you'll take me with you," Tyler said softly. "I'll be there for you every time you choose connection over fear, every time you remember to be a person instead of just a throne. You will always remember the time we spent together. That gives my short life a lot of meaning, doesn't it?" Vera's tears were flowing freely now. "It's not enough. 60 years isn't enough." Tyler said, "It's what we get. And to be honest, Vera, I don't want to live forever. The idea scares me. Seeing everyone I know die, seeing things change over and over, and getting so old that nothing feels new anymore. That's not the kind of life I want. Even if it means being with me?" "Even then." Tyler held her hands tightly. "I love you. More than I thought was possible. But I love you like a person loves, knowing that this won't last, and that's what makes it so special. I think that if I lived forever, I would eventually become like you were before we met. Numb. Not connected. Going through the motions of life without really living." Vera pulled him close and put her face on his shoulder. "I'm being selfish. I know I am. You're always right and you are. But it hurts. The idea of going on without you hurts more than anything else I've felt in 50,000 years. Tyler said, "Then we make the most of the time we have. We don't waste a single day. We put so much love and life into these years that you'll have enough memories to last a lifetime when I'm gone." They held each other for a long time, and the reality of their situation settled around them like gravity. Tyler's life was both the happiest and saddest during the years that followed. He and Vera made the most of every second. They went to places he had only dreamed about. They worked together to make decisions and make the Empire better. They laughed, fought, made up, and fell more and more in love every day. Tyler saw himself get older much faster than everyone else around him. At age 45, he needed glasses to read. His knees started to hurt from all the stairs in the palace when he was 52. The gray had completely taken over his hair by the time he was 58. Vera never changed or got older. She was always there, a constant in his speeding timeline. But she always treated him the same. When his body slowed down, she never looked at him with pity or sadness. She loved him just the way he was, no matter how much time they had left. Tyler also made sure she was ready. He told her stories about his life before they met and made her promise to come to Earth often and remember that there are many people in the galaxy worth connecting with. He made her promise not to shut herself off from the world when he was gone. "Promise me you'll stay the same," he said on his 65th birthday. "The real you, not just the Empress. Talk to each other more. Keep paying attention. Keep being brave enough to let yourself be weak." "I promise," Vera said, but her voice broke as she said it. Tyler's body finally started to shut down when he was 72. The doctors said his heart was getting weaker and that they could keep him alive for a little longer with different treatments. Tyler said no to most of them. He had lived a full life, seen things that no one else had ever seen, and loved someone very special. He was prepared. He spent his last days in that private garden where he had once saved Vera's life. She had brought plants from Earth to make him feel at home. They sat together on a bench, Vera holding his weathered hand with the same gentleness she'd shown when they first met. "Say it again," Tyler said, his voice weak but his mind still sharp. "Tell me what happened that day in the cafe." Vera smiled even though she was crying. "You helped me clean up the coffee that spilled. Such a little thing. But you really saw me, even though I had been invisible for so long." Tyler joked weakly, "Best coffee I never drank." "Thanks," Vera said quietly. "For everything. For helping an old dragon learn how to live again. For showing me that having connections is more important than having power. For loving me enough to stay human." Tyler said, "Thanks for letting me. For having faith in me. For being my friend first and an empress second. I wouldn't change a thing." Vera said, "I love you." "Me too. Always will, even after." Tyler's breathing was getting less deep. "Do not forget your promise. Stay true to yourself. Stay in touch. The galaxy needs you, not just the scary dragon version of you." "I won't forget." Tyler smiled one last time. "Good. That's great." His eyes closed peacefully and her hand was still warm in his. He died peacefully, surrounded by flowers from Earth and held by someone who would always remember him. Vera didn't scream, get angry, or break anything. She just sat there holding him, letting herself feel the full weight of loss for the first time in 50,000 years. She really, truly mourned, letting love break her in a way she had never let it before. People from all the systems went to the funeral. Billions of people saw the Dragon Empress say goodbye to her human friend. Many people had never seen her look weak in public before, but this time they saw strength instead. The kind of strength that let you love even though you knew you'd lose and connect even though it hurt. Vera didn't back down after Tyler died. She kept her word. She kept making changes, grew the Council of Voices, went to faraway worlds, and even met the people who lived there. She stayed involved, stayed there, and stayed real. But she also started a new tradition. Vera would come back to Earth every year on the anniversary of their first meeting. She'd go to that same Seattle Café, which is now a historical site because of its role in galactic history. She would sit in their old corner booth, order 2 lattes, and spend the afternoon alone with her thoughts. She would think about a person who had helped her clean up the coffee that had spilled, who had asked about birthday parties and made her question what she thought she knew about power, who had told her that 60 years of real connection were worth more than 50,000 years of being alone, who had chosen to live as himself, fully human, even if it meant their time together would be heartbreakingly short. Every year, Vera would smile through her tears and say, "Thank you, Tyler, for showing me that even empresses need someone to argue with them over coffee." Under her continued leadership, the galaxy thrived. It was connected instead of conquered and loved instead of feared. The changes that Tyler had helped bring about were the start of a new kind of empire, one based on understanding instead of fear. Tyler was there for Vera every time she made a choice, whether it was to be vulnerable instead of scared, to connect instead of be alone. Not in body but in the things he'd taught her and the love they'd shared. He had been right. 60 years of real life had been enough. His short life had an effect on all of time and space, changing everything. Some love stories never end, so they last forever. Some last forever because they were so deep that they echo through all time, carried by someone who will never forget. This was one of those tales. A person and a dragon, a barista's kindness and an empress's loneliness, coffee spills and empires in space. Proof that connections are stronger than power, that things that don't last can have lasting effects, and that sometimes the most important person in the universe is just someone who sees you for who you really are. Tyler had a wonderful life for 72 years. Vera would carry them for the rest of her life. And that changed everything.